Meaning, value, what is this hole that so many people in the US are all of a sudden feeling, it seems? And a big part of it is value. I ascribe value to you if I so desire. If you're going to help me climb the corporate ladder in some kind of way, I'll ascribe more value to you. Otherwise, you're just in my way.
Yeah.
And we see this time and time again.
Yeah.
And so from a Christian lens and worldview, we're looking back on the Old Testament yet again, and we're saying value, value, value. But during that time period, if you're telling us to become Canaanites during that time period, well, we're not looking ultimately at women and children as valuable, even if the man perhaps, yes, lays down the life for the children. Yet again, we have to figure out, we have to get to the point of saying, okay, where did this value for human beings come from? Where did the value for animals come from? Why do they have value objectively? And I've never heard a fulfilling response to that one from a secularist.
Oh, sure. Or an atheist, perhaps.
Or an atheist, yeah.
I suppose you could be a religious secularist, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, and then they might think that everyone's made in the image of God, but we shouldn't, embody that spirit into the, institution of government.
Here's an analogy that helps me. Airplane goes down. 5 people swimming in the water, life raft that can only fit 4. How do you make the decision? Which one you're going to allow to drown and which 4 you're going to put in the life raft? And so a professor stands in front of his class and says, come on, guys, give me an answer.
Yeah.
All right? And everybody squirms. Well, are we going to let the cheerleader go in because she's really pretty? We're going to let this very intelligent one, number 1 in the class, go in because he's very intelligent. We're going to let the superstar athlete go in there. And then I guess the little nobody just drowns. And so you see, the professor says, see, it's all just relative. No, it's not all just relative, Professor. The reason that we're having a real problem right now, the reason we're confronted by an ethical dilemma right now, Professor, is because we really understand human value. Yeah. If humans were not valuable, it really wouldn't matter which 4 you put in the life raft and which one you let drown. It's all just chance, and we're all just glorified apes.
So how would you make that decision? Because suppose it's the other way around. Suppose that there are 5 people in the boat and it's sinking.
Yeah.
And all 5 are going to die. Someone's got to get thrown out because no one's volunteering. In a way, you might say, well, I just wouldn't be willing to do that, so I'll just let the boat sink. But then you're self-sacrificing, so you may as well just jump out the boat yourself. Oh, maybe that would be your answer. Maybe it would be like, well, I'll jump out of the boat then. But, how would you go about trying to make that decision? Suppose you're not in the decision. You've got to dictate the terms of the decision-making. I mean, would you have, anything to say for a situation like that?
I sure would. Not saying that I would do it.
Right.
But I hope that I would sacrifice my life and jump out and let the other 4 live. That's what Christ calls me to do.
Okay, suppose you're
But no guarantees, obviously. I'm not claiming to be some super sacrificial guy.
Suppose you're super glued to the boat, right? You can't jump out. It's not possible, right? But you're Cliff. You're the intellectual guy with the YouTube channel. People listen to you. You get to make the decision, and it's going down, and no one's volunteering. I mean, you're going to die anyway. You're super glued to the thing, right? So, but you don't want to save yourself. You just know that everyone's going to die if you don't throw someone out. Or do you say, all right, everybody, I think we should all take one for the team here?
Right.
Is that probably what you'd say?
I would try and exercise leadership. But remember now, the whole reason we're facing an ethical dilemma is because we believe that there is a God who created people in his image, who loves them. People are valuable. Therefore, we just can't discard in person. But if there is no God, it's all a cosmic crapshoot.
So would that mean then in that situation you would be forced into one of those sort of counterintuitive but ultimately maybe sensible scenarios where you say, look, if no one's volunteering, then the boat goes down and all 5 of us die? Because we're not utilitarians here. We're not like, there are many situations where you'd let many people die.
We'd use reason.
Yeah, but is that how you would approach a situation like that? You would say that because it's wrong to force someone over the side of the boat, all 5 of us are going to die now. Would that be probably your response to that?
Might be. I can promise you, Alex, in that situation, I really don't know what I would do.
Yeah, sure. I'm fascinated by these kinds of cases. I mean, we test our intuitions. It's like, the ticking time bomb case for torture. People who think that torture is totally immoral. They say, well, what if a bomb was about to go off in Manhattan? I like to adapt this for my Catholic friends when it comes to the institution of confession. This is really interesting idea because the Catholic confessional is sacred. It's not like when you go to therapy and they say this is confidential, unless of course you say anything that's going to put someone in danger. It's like, no, this is confidential. I'm not allowed to say anything. And so someone comes in and says, Father, I've just I've just poisoned the chalice with which, Father David out there is about to serve mass. Do you say something? And I think for the Catholic, they are committed to the view of saying, actually, no, the priest would have to let that happen, because otherwise it would require breaking the seal of the confessional. I mean, even if you sort of burst out of the room and you run over there and you knock over them and say, no one drink it, right? You've given away information that you've obviously just learnt in confessional, which is also not allowed. I mean, maybe there'd be a way of doing it. And I've talked to my Catholic friends about this, especially priests and people who are training to be priests, what would you do here? And they're like, well, maybe I would find a way to sort of go and take the wine and swap it out and make it look like I'm doing something else. And then, well, what if they asked you? And I said, why are you doing that? Are you going to lie? You're not allowed to lie either. Like, what are you going to do? But there's a similar circumstance there of like, what if the person says, Father, I've just planted a bomb in Manhattan, and it's about to go off. And of course, the Catholic priest would probably say, well, as part of your penance, 10 Hail Marys, 2 Our Fathers, and a call to the NYPD with the exact location and how to disarm the bomb. But suppose the person halfway through the confession sort of goes, I regret this, and they sort of run away. I think a Catholic is committed to this counterintuitive position of saying, as weird as it seems, the right thing to do here, because we have our principle, and a principle's only a principle when it's tested, is that, we let that bomb go off. Now, we can take umbrage with that, because we could say that maybe the Catholic confessional is wrong for that reason. But in this case, maybe that's a more reasonable example. Maybe that is just what you do. You let them sink. But I don't know, 100 people? 1,000 people? Well, 100... What if it's 5 people in a boat and there are 2 children? There are 2 babies in the boat? And someone's got to go overboard, otherwise everyone drowns, including the babies. Is it still just like, well, okay, we'll just let it sink? Or is it like, actually, eeny, meeny, miny, off you pop, And I'm not necessarily asking what you would do here, because of course moral strength is a different thing, but what should you do here? Is there not a scenario where you would say, look, someone's got to go overboard here. Let's just do a raffle. Let's make it as fair as possibly can be, but whatever comes up, you're off the boat.
Okay, maybe a raffle. But if you start choosing, that is such a slippery slope. It's scary.
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? But then the other scary alternative is that you let those 5 babies in the boat just drown.
Right. But yet again, this type of worldview that you're espousing and the indignation you have here was not set by the Greeks, was not set by the Romans, was not set by A.C. Grayling. It was not set by any of these guys. This came directly out of the Christian worldview, where all of a sudden you're having you're so focused in such a razor sharp kind of way on the value of each and every individual in there, when so clearly the Greeks would have said, oh, get the women out first. Oh, obviously get the babies out first. Let them all drown, and the men will stay in here. It's totally normal.
As the Christian would have said, just, well, God's obviously judging us somehow, putting us in this boat in the first place. Why don't we just exterminate them all, including the children?